500 years ago, he washed ashore the sole survivor of a shipwreck. And upon the skull of the man who killed his dad, he said, "I'm mad, I must eradicate piracy, injustice and cruelty, and all my sons will follow me, so evildoers will believe that this man cannot die."
Alright, g'day everyone. This is X-Men the Phantom Podcast, and this is the Chronicle Chamber team with you. We are responsible for the website chroniclechamber.com, and you can subscribe to any of our podcasts via YouTube or whatever app you're listening to this through now. Do not forget to give us a rating on your podcast app and tell a mate about us. Really is good to have that growth by the Jungle Drums. This is episode 253. It's our May 2023 podcast, and it's probably coming a little bit late for May. We're halfway through June almost, probably by the time you hear this. So it's going to be, well, you'll know how long it is because you've seen it on your app. But we fear it could be a lengthy one. We'll try and rip through it. Next week, we're going to catch up on all the Fru comics, the Shakti, Regals, and the Fountainman comics. So that might be something you can listen to as you're traveling to Sydney for the Supernova, but we're going to delve into that a bit more shortly. My name's Dan, and I'm here tonight with Jerm and Steve. How are you, gents?
Good, mate. It's good to be chatting Phantom again.
I'm very well, Dan, and it was a great win yesterday from the Mighty Hawks over the Mighty Lions. We don't take anything away from the Lions. They're a great team, but yesterday, all Hawthorn.
I think more interestingly, you've kind of teased what you're wearing over your you want to maybe just do a bit of a stand up. I'll pin you because this is pretty impressive.
I think Dan froze a moment ago. I don't know if you heard all of me.
Yeah, I think he's just ignoring you. But
I just decided to freeze up.
You got me pinned?
Yeah, I got you pinned. So just look at this. If you're on YouTube, you'll be able to see this. Stephen, for those who are listening on audio, do you want to tell us a bit about what you're wearing?
It's the knitted Phantom jumper with the tiger in the back. Came in that what's the book?
The Popeye and King Features.
Popeye and King Features. There we go. So this is my birthday present my mum made for me. Kind of matches. Where is it? I can get it. Oh, without knocking everything down. She made this last year.
Oh,
cushion.
Nice.
And so this year, got the matching jumper.
Wow.
So very, very impressed. Very, very happy.
Mum's just got you lined up for presents from now until forever, doesn't she? She
can go through that whole book now.
So what's next year? Is it the matching pants and
matching pants? No, I don't think so. With
that pillow, does the pillow go to bed with you?
No. The pillow stays up here with my display. It's actually sitting on top of the record player. Been a while since I've got that going for a while. So
it's very impressive.
I'm very, very happy with it.
Absolutely. Well, happy birthday from all the team, all the Phantom world, Steve. That was a very important piece of Phantom news that we probably needed to lead out with when we're getting into this our news podcast. And as I said earlier, it could be a long one, so we want to rip into it. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about, I did mention that we're talking about all of the comics in our next episode, but to stay with the times as much as we can, we want to have a quick talk about the daily and the Sunday newspaper story progresses, the progress in those. Let's start with the daily. So it's daily number 263, Dungeons Undone. 263, it feels like it's about that many weeks it's been going. It's a really long story. I guess it's a part of the saga, isn't it? And as always happens when Germ starts to share his screen, the run sheet disappears.
You would think after 250 plus episodes, you would have figured that one out by now.
Yeah, you would. It surprises me every time somehow. So anyway, we've been, where are we up to at the moment? To be fair, I haven't been paying as much attention as I've had some busy times at work the last few weeks. Steve, could you give us a quick synopsis of where things are up to?
Where things are up to? Well, in the last couple of weeks, he's been in contact with the Jungle Patrol. And they've been, in the last episode, had they started releasing the prisoners? If not,
this is what's happening here. So basically,
So the fans been releasing the prisoners. They've got the short list, and the short list of people who actually deserve to be in prison, and the long list which will be everything else, is the ones who are allowed to go free. So they keep the short list, so they know who not to release. And as you can see here, the Phantom's being able to what's the word? Get someone to give him a hand, whether volunteered in inverted commas, and so now they're going and releasing all the innocent, for lack of a better word, prisoners. There's one or two chaps in there though who want to be free and probably shouldn't be free, and
shortlisters.
So yeah, they're shortlisted and they get shortlisted all right. I think one of them cops a scratch from a band arrow, and that's the last we hear of him.
That was a pretty cool few days.
That was, yeah. And
I must admit, I'm not really sure if I actually like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a few things going on here, but
yeah. Again, it's the whole. I'm not sure if we need to see, the whole dying or anything like that. I guess
they
on
don't
one,
have to be.
yeah, I guess on one hand, for the bandit to be feared, yet they have to be able to kill someone, because no one's going to fear the bandit if they're not killing people. But do we need to see this much killing in this story? I'm not sure if we do.
And the fact that Phantom doesn't seem to be remonstrating. Oh, there's the fellow I was just talking about. You thought he was going to get free, but he didn't. And there's a lot of communication
So we're
with...
talking sort of mid-May here, 15, 16, 17 of May, for those who are trying to keep up without the YouTube.
Yep. And here we have the bad guy grabbing the teacher. And then we got Babadan, who just gives him a little slice with a band arrow. And we don't see him die, but we definitely see him fall over. We don't know if it's a knockout potion, but he's not getting up. Not in this story, I don't think, anyway. And
well, we know that, sorry to interject there, Steve, but we do know that one scratch from a band arrow means death. And that's literally what we see here, is one scratch and then he falls over and dies. So I understand what you're saying, Jim, about not wanting to see people die necessarily, but it's perhaps one of the least violent comic book deaths you might see.
There's been a lot of death in this recent story. Now, I understand that there's the whole, breaking into a prison and stuff like that. But we've discussed it before, but I'm not sure if I'm comfortable with the amount of unnecessary death by people in this story.
And then
they're fighting a war.
They are fighting a war. Yeah.
Are they fighting a war?
It feels like it to me.
Yeah, but I don't know. I always thought that the Phantom, if he's fighting in a war, it should be him defending, like in the Phantom Goes to War story when the Japanese invaded. This one, you got to remember, technically he's invading another country, so he's actually doing the act of war. Now, what do you guys think about the John X? I must admit, the John X wasn't my favourite. Something
that the Jungle Control can interact with the Phantom with, not knowing it's the Phantom. It's like, they get to interact with the unknown commander, and they get to interact with John X. So they're interacting with the Phantom on two different levels. And it's just it's another narrative, I guess, so that they know that the Phantom's out there doing work, but they don't actually know, they don't know about this Phantom. They know it's
I kind of like it in the sense that the previous Phantoms, like up until what was it, the 14th, there was a personal connection between the Phantom as the unknown commander and whether it's a handwritten letter or whatever. Now they actually have seen and they've met John X, so they've got a greater investment in it, perhaps. Yeah,
but John X, they don't see John X as the unknown commander. They, like, for instance, here
I know that. They know the character of John X, but they know him personally because he spent time amongst them and all the rest of it. So that gives them a more tangible connection, I guess, to what's going on.
I'm not sure about that one. But yeah, I don't know. We've seen the Phantom both in newspaper stories and Team Phantom Men stories where he appears and works with the Jungle Patrol as the unknown commander. I'm not sure whether, and we know that John X was an accident in a sense because he had amnesia and and everything like that, which was a previous story, probably about 5-8 years ago. So I understand that, but yeah, I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that little sequence there, you're not a fan of that either?
No, look, the best thing about this story that I've liked is the fact that the Phantom is actually rescuing the innocents. I thought it was a little bit selective going through and just rescuing Diana, then just rescuing the Mexican police chief, and then just going to Savannah. And then he's like, oh, hang on, well, while I'm here, I should go and rescue everyone else. So I like that change of tact because, I've actually said it on the podcast. Why is the Phantom leaving these other people behind? And he's gone through and done it. But I just feel like I don't know. I just feel like the story's starting to drag a little bit. I'm very patient, but I feel like the story's starting to drag, and I would like to see some shorter, punchier, just old school style stories coming out after this for a year or two where we can just have some fun.
Understand looking forward to a changed up and mixed up, because the last little few short stories we've had were more narrative, with Kit's letter home and that sort of thing. Some of the shorter stories, but they're just the story, not just that sounds but they're not the action, the short, the quick action adventures we're used to sometimes.
Yeah, and I think, like, I love the fact how Tony has, and I'm a huge fan, and how he has expanded not only the Phantom's legacy and character, but also the other characters and stuff like that. But I think sometimes, I'd like to see just a little bit of a mix where it's just, where we can just have I don't know, I'm not sure if fun, but, like, someone's in trouble, the Phantom goes through, punches him, puts him to jail, and then you see the Phantom and Diana kissing as the last panel. Like those warm and fuzzy stories that we saw in the 70s and 80s and, the 30s and the 40s and stuff like that. I would like to see a couple of those.
Just to break things up a bit, you reckon?
Yeah.
Well, as I said, this is I was a bit joking about how long it's been going, but it is a longer one. And as I said, because it's the 5th chapter in a sequence of stories, it is an arc that is really giving. He's giving quite a lot. So the last week or so, where do we leave the story right now?
At the moment, he's talking with is it the major, the fellow who's actually in charge of the prison? And he's just contacted the Phantom on the phone, and Phantom said, "Look, I gave you a chance to get out of here, and that would have been a really good thing for you to do." And he's saying, "I'm going down with the ship, or I'm not leaving here. I'm standing my ground, Mister." And the Phantom just goes, "Oh, there just doesn't seem to be much left to command, but have it your way."
How good's that angle? The looking up at the Phantom in the last panel on the 10th of June. I really like that perspective.
Yeah. It's totally different, and I guess that shows the skill of Mike Manley, who's look, it's 3 panels of the Phantom talking to someone. Yeah, he's totally changed the perspective just to kind of add something to it.
Just mix it up.
Yeah,
and gives him a lot of power, that pose. So basically, what we're getting set up for the big baddie now, are we? He's going to go off and skull punch the major, and we move on.
Well, maybe there's my punch, that I talked about where the bad guy gets punched and that's it.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying, but it was a really clever plot device to use to get the Phantom releasing just the innocent people, because you can't just go through and release every single person because you don't know who you're actually letting out. But the plot point of having John X contribute to the provision of that list is pretty cool, I thought.
Yeah, look, I don't know. Like, I'm enjoying the story. I think the payoff when you read it in a comic is going to be good. I've enjoyed going through reading the story each day or each second day as you go and stuff like that. It's just, I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like maybe it's just starting to kind of drag a little bit.
All right. Well, that might be a segue to the Sunday episode where we've got Sunday story 193, Return of the Temple of the Gods. Now, for mine, this story probably is starting to drag a little bit as well. I'm not a massive fan of this one. I think I've said that in the direction it's gone in the past, and nothing really in the last month and a bit has changed my mind on the story, I'm afraid. Probably personally looking forward to the next one of the Sunday stories, if I can be honest. I don't know how you guys feeling about it at the moment.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I've never really been, and I've said this before, but for those who have come in late, I wasn't a fan of the Temple of the Gods in the first place. I think I'm intrigued where it's going. I still don't really know where it's going. Again, if you're on YouTube, you'll be able to see this. We're starting from the 23rd of April. Now, it was interesting to see Minna Brune come back, and then it kind of finds out that the amnesia drug didn't work.
Or it didn't work strong enough.
Yeah, it didn't work
kind
strong.
of left her foggy, but there was enough left there to her draw towards Bangala and the deep woods and the Phantom was too strong for the pygmy for the Banda amnesia drug.
So we've got, so you got Introducer here, and then we've got 2 Sundays retelling kind of like that. I'm not sure or even there's another. So three Sundays retelling kind of like her. I'm not. I don't know.
I didn't mind that because I wasn't aware of the story.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess
that's good for those who came in late.
Yeah. I guess for me, it didn't really. I didn't need it, but I guess for some who did, probably did. So that's a good point. I don't know.
Can you go back to that one that you're on? And I do like the way that Jeff is getting the conversation captured between them. Like, he's good at those angles on the storytelling. But this is what, the 25th of May? I can't quite.
21st of May.
21st of May. As the father of 2 girls, I'm not sure I could have ever put that hair up like that. I don't know how her hair is staying up. Those bottom 2 panels. It's just an unusual sort of a bob. But that said, the panel on the last panel, again, I like these last panels. The last panel on the 21st of May with Diana tapping Mina on the shoulder with the excuse me, and just the look on her face, on Diana's face. That's just really great character and storytelling from Jeff.
And I like that bottom line, like as a throwback to the old stories where the women were just throwing themselves on the Phantom.
Yes.
Those female pirates, and they start arguing with each other, both wanting him. So it's like a throwback to all those sort of things.
Yeah, Marshall sisters.
And then Dinah just happens to see what happens, see what the Phantom has to deal with.
Yeah, you're right. I did like that.
Yeah, mid pucker up, and then it's only subtle, but you actually see the Phantom on the second last panel, again on the same.
Kind of shake away.
Yeah, you see the movement of him moving his head back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... Yeah, I don't really know. Then we kind of go back. I thought this was I did like this little bit where you see, the champion of old. So, like there's a lot going on in the story that I do like, There's, whether it's the sign of the 3rd Phantom, the restaurants being named after him. What's interesting is the Phantom's drinking out of
I'm just going to assume that's still a water within that mug.
Yeah, it looks like the old beer mug.
Beer Stein, yeah.
Yeah, beer Stein, and then you've got Diana with a little red. So, there's some great attention to detail from the writer tying all these elements, and from Jeff adding all these elements into the stories. But and then this is today's.
I haven't read today's yet.
This is today's. So, now, again, if you're on YouTube, you'll notice that the format has changed. So sorry about that for that. Again, we're talking about finding, back in 2005, which is when this story originally started. when the Phantom took when the Phantom took the diary from the home in Germany. So, look, I kind of feel like we're almost at the end, and the reason I say that is, what date was it? On the 4th of where was this? So end of March, the panel the image that I'm showing now, can you see that? Which has got John X and the Jungle Patrol. So towards the end of March, Jeff actually previewed this up on his Facebook page. Now, Jeff, in the past, has worked on roughly a 6-month, what would you call it, gap of where he's up to. So if he is still working at that schedule, and that was March, so it's looking like at the very, going by that we might see a new story starting in 2-3 months' time.
Well, I think
it feels sooner than that to me.
Yeah,
I'm just saying at the, just doing that, if he's at 6 months ahead and he did this end of March.
Yeah, this could be the middle of the story or whatever.
Yeah, it could be the middle, it could be whatever, but I reckon we've got at the most 2 to 3 months.
Yeah. I don't know. Did you think too, Steve, reading through today's that it's starting to feel like 1, maybe 2 more weeks are left at most to me?
I reckon we'll have a new story in July.
In July? Yeah. How's this story going to end then?
That they all shake hands and say, yes, you are the champion of old, and we'll be allies until, whatever. But it just seems to be building a relationship with him. And the way I see it, having just read today's very quickly, you're going to build this connection together. Not going to be a heck of a lot of action happening, but in another adventure, probably another 5 years, we'll get these Temple of the Gods fellas back, and there's going to be some sort of big catastrophe where they're going to have to work together, and hopefully there'll be a bit more action.
Well, Phantom's got to go in and save them from a flood or something.
Well, what happened? Why is the Phantom there in the I suppose they got to wrap that part up first, don't they? Because the scientists were attacked.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
So they've got to sort that puppy out.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe 3 weeks.
So there would have to be kind of like a look. Don't attack people. I'll protect yous. Mina will protect yous, and stuff like that. But now just something totally random, right? Could Kuz be a almost human? Could he be a part of this Temple of Gods in some way?
No, these guys have.
Well, we've got to remember there's different varying degrees of how beast and how human you are.
Yeah, well, these guys can speak, and his just goes his.
Yeah. So I'm just saying there could be a varying degree, but
he's the missing link between the almost humans and the humans.
Yeah, and then you also got to remember that the almost humans are fighting in battle against the more beast-like people as well. So could Huz, could he get an origin, an earlier origin story as somehow related? I don't know. Just throwing it out there. We might have to put that as a social media post and see if anyone wants to play and come up with.
I have a feeling I know that there would be a few comments suggesting that was not a very good idea. I think it's got some merit though. We know that Tony does listen to the podcast sometimes, and that's why sometimes we feel a bit awkward going, not really seeing but if he listens to that and either chuckles in the back of his mind because, of course, I've got that mapped out, or it sparks a little fire to go, maybe. Or maybe he'll just go, that's a dumb idea.
Yeah, it probably is. But anyway.
Then Steggy be a real throwback for the lizard people.
Absolutely. All right. Well, wild speculation of where the newspapers are going. We're really enjoying certainly the art, if not necessarily the direction of the story without being overly critical. Anyway, I can get myself out of this hole let's just start talking about the news. Let's move to something that I know, Jerm, you're very excited about. I'm very jealous about. Steve, I suspect you might be as well. because this, what are we, Sunday today as we sit here and record. This time, or 1 week from now, the whole weekend will be over, Germ. So that's how close we are. You must be very excited.
Yeah, look, I am. So for those who are living under a rock, or for those who have come in late, next weekend, the 17th and the 18th of June, is Sydnova, or Sydney Supernova, which has a couple of fan catch-ups. Sydney Supernova, which has got a whole host of creators through, have a booth there as well. So all pretty excited. Look, we've got an article up on our website which details everything from catch-ups on Friday night, Saturday day, and also Saturday night. If you want to join us at any of those catch-ups, email us at chroniclechamber@gmail.com. All our details are on the podcast, whether you're listening to our audio, YouTube, or on our website. Now, if you are just coming to Supernova, we're actually going to have some stickers. We have a set of 2 stickers, which we're going to be giving away. If you're looking on YouTube, you'll see those on the screen right at this stage. But we're only having 30 sets available for our general listeners. And if you want a set of those, you have to say a keyword. And the keyword, Dan, is...
It's a solid truth, mate. I am a happy forkist. That's the catchphrase. I want to have 30 people go up and tap Germ on the shoulder. How are you going to wear a Chronicle Chamber t-shirt?
I'll be wearing my Chronicle Chamber t-shirt, or this jumper, depending on how cold it is.
Okay, so Chronicle Chamber t-shirt. The jumper is I can't remember the brand of that, but
Hans Lindell Casual Friday. So it's got this on the front, and it's got
audio listeners.
If you want to look at my bum, it's got that on the back.
Black jacket with Phantom right across the tramp stamp area, and a shadowed Hans Lindell Phantom on the front. So.
And the shirt, of course, is the one that you're wearing at the moment, but mine's black. Yeah, so white and black, yours. Yeah. So, yeah, look.
And look, Germ will go through and look at the website, and Germ has basically told you where he'll be. He'll be either within a 5-meter radius of the Froo booth, purchasing things or talking to people, or Germ actually goes through and lists in the website, in the webpage, where all of the booths are for all of the Phantom related people, or people who have produced anything really to do with the Phantom over the years, and where you can find them to get things signed. And that's where Germ will be. So if you can't find him at the Froo booth, just track down those other booth numbers. Do you want
to go over the creators that will be?
Oh, look, it's a monster list, and I'm not going to go through in detail what each person has done or whatever, because that would just take us too long. But all of these artists would have at least one published image of the Phantom, whether that's a cover or on a trading card, and most of them have got multiple Froo covers at the very least. So anyway, Freddie Williams I thought there was a third. Freddie Williams the second, Daniel Picciotto, Alex Tripp, Jamie Johnson, Lauren Marshall, Matt Kime, friend of the show. Most of these guys are friends of the show, to be fair. We've spoken to just about everybody. Christopher Sequeira, Chewy Chan, Paul Mason, Shane Foley, Jeremy McPherson, Duncan Munro, Antonio Lemos, who's a long-time fan favourite. Probably he won't mind me saying he's the veteran of this list, and will be very popular. Marcelo Bays and Jason Paulos as well. And they'll be variously at the Froo booth, or a lot of them will be at their own booth, I guess, in Artist Alley.
Yeah, exactly. I guess one of the things that is exciting is that there will be a Phantom panel at 10:30 a.m. Saturday. We will try and record the panel. We'll be taking photos, video grabs, audio grabs of stuff from the dinner, from the catch-ups and everything else. And then we'll put it in a future podcast, which will probably be a week or two after the event as well. So
it'd be very interesting, the Phantom panel. Now, do you know who's on that? I think I saw the names. Alex Tripp was one of them.
Yep. Alex, Lauren Marshall, Matt Kime, and Daniel Picciotto.
Yeah, right. Imagine that most of those, at least a couple of those, will be going to the Lee Falk dinner the night before.
No, that night. So the dinner's Saturday night, and that's Saturday 10:30 a.m.
Not bad. I thought the panel was Sunday morning. Right. Okay. So it's one of the first things off on the day of the whole Supernova.
Yeah, which will be hard to get to be honest. It's probably the worst time, apart from the graveyard shift at 4 o'clock on a Sunday. Because
what time do the doors open of Supernova?
10, and it will be hard to get in there.
You reckon? Is there often a queue at the start of Supernova?
Yeah, and sometimes some years it takes you an hour just to get in, even if you've been there from like 9 o'clock or something. So
what's the you're going to go to try and get as far up as you can?
Look, I'm going to try and get it because I want to try and record it. Look, there's been a bit of chatter about, bad time, I won't bother going and stuff like that. Look, Supernova won't do things like panels if no one rocks up. If no one rocks up and no one gives the stuff, they're going to go, well, screw all the fans. We've given you an opportunity. We'll do something else like My Little Pony or something like that. So if fans are talking, they like to talk the big game, but if you want to talk the big game, show up. Don't be a sook because you got to wait in a line for half hour. Get there, listen, be a part of a number, and then they'll go, oh look, we had 30, 40 people in the panel. That's more than normal. Let's do it at a better time, and we'll do more. So,
fair enough. Now, before we and there is some stuff that we really do need to talk about, but while we're still maintaining the excitement level about Supernova itself, in past years, Jerm, when we've had a booth there, we've known ahead of time. Not often long ahead of time, but certainly we were excited about the trading cards, knowing that they were coming out and all of these sorts of things in the past. We haven't actually heard much in terms of concrete details of any new merch that Fru is going to bring out, other than the folio set, which is it will be beautiful artwork, of course, but it's another folio set. I'm not, it's number 8, I think, or maybe 9.
9 or 10, yeah.
No?
9 or 10, because there's a couple of those little mini ones as well.
Yeah, right. So, and you've got here other posters. Have they confirmed what those images are, or just you?
No. So, look, that's more speculative. I know there's at least one post because I saw Renee comment on a recent Fru cover that was going to be released as a poster. I believe Alex Tripp is doing one of those metallic ones. Which, if it does go ahead, that will be cool because they are very effective.
And releasing that through Fru?
I believe so. I wouldn't be surprised if we get maybe a jam cover with the next Fru issue is a sequel story for the T for terrorists. So they're villains. So we might, that's going to, I'm assuming, which will tie into the folio print set, which is villains. So, but if there's 10, let's just say there might have to be 2 different jam covers. So that will be interesting how they kind of fit with that, because if you're having one comic with, say, 10 or up to 15, last year they had 13 artists on there. You can't fit 13 different artists on one jam cover. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get 2 jam comics to buy and then get signed. So, yeah.
That'll be cool.
Yeah,
and
so
certainly, as you said, well, I didn't count them out, but there's at least 13 artists in that list, so they'll all be around too, you'd hope.
Yeah. So, look, I would expect there to be between 10 and 15 in the folio print set. And, if there's 10, that's a nice round number. You have 5 in each comic, which is 2 jam covers.
And do you and I guess my point is that I wonder what else Fru might just have as a surprise for us. So I'm sure that Steve and I will be watching the socials very closely on Saturday morning to see what photos you're able to put out for everybody who hasn't been able to wait in line and get in as early as you have, or attend at all.
Yeah, and exactly. And everything that Fru will sell will be available on their website.
Yep. I'm fully expecting, while I'm at my kids' basketball games, for my phone to be going running hot.
Yes. Yeah. Now, just before we do move on, are there any other artists? If you have a look at that list, and both of us, all of us, can have a look at the list of people that I just rattled off there before. If there was one artist, Australian artist, that you could get there who's not there, who would that be?
Oh,
I can think of one.
Chris Wall.
Oh yeah, yes.
Oh, he's not on there.
He'll be the one that I would like to get on there.
Yeah.
Who's
his doorposter was magnificent. Another, and the couple of covers that he did. Keep his involvement in the Phantom covers if you can.
Right, who are you thinking, Dan?
Oh, Glenn Lumsden is the name that jumps out for mine that I'd love to see on there. He's we're going to talk about the comics in the next pod, I know, but just having a glance over the covers of the ones that we're reviewing soon, it's his work that jumps out for me. I'm really loving what he's doing.
He's a standout.
Yeah. So So I would love to have seen him there, even though I'm not there. So, but anyway. All right. Now, I've hinted a couple of times. Oh, Steve, did you have an artist?
I can't think of one off the top of my head.
No, good. It was a question without notice, so I apologise. Look, some sad news about the dinner, and people who were planning on going to the dinner. Everybody already knows this, and because the news came out about a week ago, I suppose now. And there's been an article posted on our website as well. But in really sad news, Richard Fry, who is the one of the two patrons, really, with Antonio Didio of the Lee Falk Memorial Bengala Explorers Club in Australia. I don't know how long that they've been involved, since the very beginning, I suspect. And Richard's organised the dinners now for 25 years or so, 32 or 3 dinners that he's organised over the journey, and gone far too early, I would say. He's not an old man, and I don't know his exact date. Jeremy might be across that information, but far too young. And for someone who has given so much unheralded, outside of that group of people who go to the dinner or get the emails, you wouldn't know who Richard is. Never sought any accolades or anything for what he was doing, but raised well over $100,000 for the Westmead Children's Hospital across the journey with these Lee Falk Bengala Explorers Club dinners, and the options that went with them, and just really tragic and terrible timing too. Not that there's ever a good time for this, as I said, but only a week and a half out from the dinner or a fortnight out from the dinner that he was so very much looking forward to. Just terrible news.
It was. I've known Richard for 13, 15 years. The amount of work that he does, you're right, he doesn't, it's not a limelight seeker. Very behind the scenes, get the job done. Has helped the fandom community in Australia immensely with especially in the 2000s where it was a little bit dry with he did with the dinners. He was getting creators and artists out. So a lot of the creators that have come to Australia, like Jeff Weigel, Paul Ryan, Alex Suviak, Terry Beattie, some of these ones were actually
was he partially responsible for Cy Barry as well?
Yeah, partially responsible for them. So the reason they came out was because of Richard actually forking out his own money to be able to help bring them out, so then they could come to the dinner, come to Supernova and stuff like that. So he's done it. He's done a lot for the Phantom. It is sad. Kudos to Bradley and Joyful, who are doing their best to fill in his shoes. So the dinner will be going ahead, which is good. It'll be, I'm sure we all have a good time, and we will toast and remember him this time of the year as well.
For mine, and I'll let you jump in, sorry, Steve, in a sec, but for mine, I think his greatest legacy, as far as I'm concerned, the raising money and all that sort of stuff is fantastic, of course, but just the relationships that he's allowed to, that he's grown by bringing people together, like-minded people who don't actually get to talk fandom live with people very often, and certainly getting to know people, sitting across the table at a dinner and bidding against each other in a silent auction, and just the whole weekend. But that opportunity to break bread and sit down with a person can give you a much different impression than you might get if all you ever knew of them was online. So, and I'm not sure what that says about people or the people I'm talking to or whatever, but it's just an opportunity to get those people together. And yes, some of my favourite fandom memories will be the dinners I was lucky enough to attend because of the people and because Richard brought us all together.
Yeah.
I only met Richard once, and he just makes you feel quite really at home from the get-go. Make you feel really welcome. And embraced you into the dinner. It was really great to be a part of it. Like, I've only been to one, but like you said, it's something that is going to stick with me, and I can't wait to go to another one. It's unfortunate that Richard won't be there, but his legacy will hopefully live on for many years to come.
Yep, well spoken.
All right, so. That news aside, very much hope. And look, even the dinner, I'm sure there'll be a really fitting tribute to Richard. There's always a toast to Lee Falk, of course. There's been Jim Shepherd added into the mix, and Richard, I'm sure, will be toasted at this dinner, and there'll be, I'm sure there won't be a dry eye in the house as that happens. And I'd like to think that going forward, he'll be one of the ones that is remembered every year. Anyway, that's this weekend, and it's for all of the reasons we talked about, going to be a thrilling thing to be at if you can. There's other conventions going on around Australia, though.
Well, before you go on, Dan, have you mentioned who the special guest is at the dinner?
No, I didn't. Sorry, Alex Tripp, I should have said, is the guest of the dinner. So he's going to be a busy man. He's at a panel 10:30 a.m. He's probably had to get up at 6 o'clock to get in to the panel to attend at that time. At Supernova through the day, and then guest speaker at the dinner that night. So, buy him a beer for me, Jerm, if you can.
Sorry.
Buy him a beer for me if you can.
No, he needs to be sober for his speech.
After the speech.
Yes.
All right. So, other Australian conventions. Now, Steve, did you want to go through this? The other conventions that are going on across the course of the rest of this year, because it's pretty busy and there's no excuses, no matter where you live.
Yeah, it really is Comic-Con season at the moment, and we're recording this the weekend before Sydney Supernova. But as on the weekend of recording, there's Oz Comic-Con happening in Melbourne. Well, it's probably just wrapped up now. That happened there this week. A couple of months ago, there was Supernova in Melbourne. Was it Oz Comic-Con or Supernova over in Adelaide? I think a week or two ago.
Yeah, so, I think we're just talking about the ones to come.
I know about the ones to come. What I'm doing, though, is just giving you some context about the amount of Comic Cons that are going out at the moment. So, and the ones still to come, we've got Perth Supernova on the 24th and 25th of June. So I'm assuming that's the week after Supernova. Then at the end of the Victorian school holidays on July 8th and 9th, we've got Melbourne MetroCon, and there was a number of Phantom creators going to that one as well. That
one looks good.
That one looks real good. And
if you're in Melbourne, I reckon that will be a good one to go to.
Yep. And even if you're in Ballarat, the V-Line tickets are now a lot cheaper. So hopefully we get you to that one. There's Wagga Gamma.
You'll be our roving reporter there then, Steve.
Oh, fingers crossed. Wagga Gamma Con on July 22. Canberra Comic Con on August 5th and 6th. Canberra Gamma Con on September 9th and 10th. There's Brisbane Comic Con.
Between a Comic Con and a Gamma Con?
I'll be whoever's running it, I'm guessing. Whoever's in charge of the tickets. Brisbane Comic Con on 16th or 17th of September. Sydney Comic Con September 23-24. Adelaide Supernova on November 4th and 5th. Brisbane Supernova November 11th and 12th. There is one happening in Bendigo as well. I might find that one, but there are Comic Cons happening absolutely everywhere. But we just mentioned MetroCon. So for those in Victoria, let me get the comics and publishing. We've got Daniel Picciotto. We've got Jamie Johnson. We've got where are we here? Chewie Chan. We've got Chris Sakira. Jason Franks, Nicholas Scott, Andrew Constant, and of course we have Dr. Paul Mason. And I think that's all I've got at the moment that I can see. There's probably more there, but on a quick run through, that is a very, very impressive lineup.
It is. It wasn't that long ago that you had to go to Sydney Supernova to get that many fans. Not long before that you couldn't get any. So for you to have that lineup in Melbourne is really promising.
Absolutely over the moon with the amount of Phantom thing that's going around in Comic Cons at the moment, particularly creators. I think having Frew do a lot more of Australian creators has really been great for these Comic Cons, because now we're seeing more Phantom. When we were at Supernova, when it was a couple of months ago in Melbourne, the comment was, I heard a comment in the background, geez, there's a lot of Phantom stuff. And I thought, yes, there is, and it's awesome. And it's only going up and up, because I remember when I first went to my one, I think it was 2014, 2015, I think it was, with Tom, and there was nothing. There, like maybe one little thing. And you really, really had to search for it. Whereas now, it's right there, and artists are there selling their prints and everything like that. It's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely right. And that reminds me of Grange Wallace. Is he in Melbourne, going to the Melbourne one? It's a shame he's on the list of ones that you'd rather see at the Sydney one too.
I would love to see Grange Wallace. That'd be my one to put on there. But I've been checking it. His name hasn't come up yet on MetroCon, but I know he was at Oz Comic Con this weekend in Melbourne, and I hope he's done well this weekend at his booth, and hope to see him at MetroCon. I'll get to flex with my jumper because I know he wants one.
Lucky you live in Melbourne, you'll be able to use that most of the year round. So, all right. Now, unless there's anything more about the comic conventions, no, Germ's getting shaken the head. So let's throw to you, Germ, to talk about the Cy Barry art auction, because I know you've had the conversations with David and Cy, and you've been pretty heavily involved in helping set up the website and that sort of thing, giving lots of advice and support and all the rest of it. It's all the information, if you want to go in and have your deep dive, is in podcast episode 250. But the date is getting closer. Has any more new art been released that we know of that's going to be in the auction? What are you particularly looking forward to seeing? Having a crack at yourself, or just seeing what sort of numbers different artwork achieves?
Okay. So what I'll be interested in, there's a few. Maybe the Mike Manley, Jeff Weigel, Sunday dailies. That intrigues me. There's what I would like to see is a bit more Australian artwork. I know Matt Kime has just recently reached out to David Barry for a donation, but it hasn't been much coming out from Australian creators. So hopefully, with it being in July, which is less than a month away, with Supernova kind of being sorted out, which is kind of like the big thing, the big focus for a lot of these creators and artists. Maybe we might see them donating something for the July art auction as well. But yeah, look, the best option is to go to the website. It's only a 25-minute podcast. So rather than me talk for 25 minutes, you might as well go listen to Cy and David talk for 25 minutes. Have you looked at any of the art? Is there anything that takes your fancy?
There's a while ago. It was good. I can't remember what it was. Yeah, the dailies and Sundays. I think there was.
There was some from Cy Barry as well. So the website is Draw for Life.
Drawforlife.org.
Yeah. Draw for Life.
And the cool thing is, it's not just Phantom stuff too. Like there's Spider-Man and
Archie. There's Archie. That'd
be a big seller.
Yeah. So there's some nice, non-Phantom art as well.
Yep. And what's the date, Germ, that the thing's going to go?
Okay, so the bidding starts on Saturday, the 1st of July, and closes on Saturday, the 8th of July. Now, They are American dates, so make sure you understand that. It'll be using eBay, so everyone majority of people that are listening to this have probably used eBay in one format or the other. So if you've got an eBay account, you'll be able to pretty much go for there. The Antonio Lemos piece is quite nice as well. There's the Phantom riding in the Chronicle Chamber. So, a Cy Barry piece where he's slamming Cancer, slamming the door is quite nice as well. So, yeah, there's a few.
Very good. Well, the link will be in the show notes, or you can just go and find the page on our website. As we said, podcast episode 250 is the one you want to go to hear more about that. Now, we don't see it. Well, we always are excited when we see a new line of Phantom merch come out. We always sort of say we'd like to see it more often, but it's probably just about right in terms of being able to keep on top of it. There is a new T-shirt or clothing line that has been licensed. Jem, do you want to maybe share your screen so people can see?
Actually, there's not one. There's two.
Right. Sorry. Yes. Okay. So the Briscoe USA one. Do you want to perhaps bring that one up to begin with? I think I only knew about the Briscoe USA one. This is
it's on read the notes.
We've got to do it more closely.
Yeah. So this is the Briscoe one. These are the designs here. The thing that I like about the designs is the fact that they're different designs than what we've seen before.
Yeah.
They're not the same. And even like this one, so these are the different designs here. So there's 7 different designs with the Briscoe. But there's a nice mixture of classic and the new style as well. Like so like for instance, this one here, you've got the new, Slam Evil rearing up in here, and in the background you've got the classic Cy Barry look. And then it's the same as in here as well. So I think the designs are quite well. Now I've actually talked to someone who's actually got these, who's actually got some of these T-shirts. And they said that the quality is really good. And they were really surprised with it, and they're better than what they originally thought. So
that's good to hear.
You can get it in shirts, singlets, jumpers, long sleeve shirts. There's all different. I'm not sure why that's not working, but there's all different types as well. So
so seven designs. You can see those if you go to our webpage, and then you can just apply those to whatever of those clothing items you like. Yeah, that's cool. No, I agree with what you say there about the mix of classic Cy Barry art with the new stuff. It makes the new stuff less, more palatable. I think that's
for the focus. Yeah.
Yeah. I think. Well, yeah, you're right. The people who are going to come up and tap you on the shoulder and say, "I am a happy Focused," that's because they also like to see Cy Barry. So I think it will make this new style guide a bit more acceptable for people. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So the Solid store from India now. Maybe I thought these
were the sole, like the sock, because I used to do socks. So the sole. That's apparently where their name come from, is because they
sold, not solid.
Yeah, because they used to do soles and socks.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Dan's like, yeah, who cares?
I'm trying to see how it's spelled on their website.
He's still getting over the fact that it's Jermayn picking up on his pronunciation.
Yeah, he's dirty at me.
Well, it's spelled. It's just spelled differently on the lunch. Anyway,
so there's only 2 designs. You've got
is that hoodie or hoodie T-shirt?
Yeah.
I like it.
And then on the front you've got just the little Phantom, and then on the back you've got the big Phantom punching, which is the new design, and then behind that, I'm not sure if you can see that, but for those who can't, or if you're listening to audio, you've actually got a silhouette of the Phantom, which is a bit sort of similar as my jumper that I'm wearing. Behind that as well, it's really, it's not too noticeable, but it's nice, and I like this design. Yeah, it's subtle. I like this. I like the hoodie. apparently that's all sold out. That's sold like hotcakes. A couple of Indian people that I was talking to, they could get the what do you call it? One of the purple sleeves, short sleeves, which has got the phantom, which has got a classic Siberia, pity but necessary as he shoots it, and the phantom a lot across the top. You can still get that one, but the other one has apparently all been sold out, and you can't get them anywhere.
Oh, hopefully they'll make some more.
So look, I guess what I find exciting about it is the fact that you're having two different, what would you call it? Two different companies in different countries have the license for their country, their area, and they're actually releasing different designs. Now, clothing's always been popular. And so it's good to see that King Features are giving local businesses their license, and they're producing not just the same stuff, but they're actually producing different stuff. So I like it.
Yeah, I like it, and hopefully this is another step towards getting him back into department stores. You know, you get Popeye, you get Betty Boop, you get this, that, and the other thing. Let's get a Phantom, even just for 1 year, get a Phantom T-shirt into a Target or Big W or something like that.
I remember it would have been close to probably 10 years ago. There was that one design Phantom T-shirt that found its way into Target.
Really?
Jeez, it would have been about 10 years ago. It wasn't very good, but remember there was a lot of in the Australian Target stores. It got there. You've also got the NECA figurines that have made their way in Target and Kmart and big, and all those type of
in
shops
America,
in the States. So
yeah, we're moving in the right direction slowly.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
All right, let's keep moving on. The next item of news is the results of the best Team Fantoman story. Or sorry, that's not true. The best Fantoman story of 2022 as voted by the fans. The distinction there being that Fantoman is the comic and Team Fantoman is actually is of course the people behind it. So when you were voting for your favourite Fantoman story, then it could have come from anywhere as long as it was published in that particular book. And for the first time ever, I want to say, and it's pretty exciting for an Australian and someone who read this story first, I suppose, or one of the people, it's a Frou story that's been picked up by Fantoman. Vultures Part 1 was named as the favourite story to appear in that story in that book this year. Did that surprise you guys to hear that an Australian story had topped the charts?
No,
because Australia's been doing some quality stuff.
No, because I think it was the best story of the year, whether it was Australian or not. And I did actually ask, were there a greater number of Australians who voted in this to see if there was a bunch of Australians that got all patriotic? And the answer was no. Actually, the person who conducted and counted all the votes actually sent me the results, and actually he did a great job. Brian is his name. He actually put them into country format for us, kind of look at and stuff like that. And because that was my first thought, and I was like, I wonder if like 20% of Australians thought, oh, let's bump this one up because it was but it wasn't the case.
Once you said, and we'll go through some of the other results in a moment, but part of the news out of that is 442 people voted, which is the highest amount of fans voting in this competition for over 30 years, certainly since they've been conducting it over the internet. So I did wonder when I read that number, were the extra 100 or whatever all Australians?
Yeah. Hey, I thought exactly the same. So, no, the answer is no.
There
I think it was I think now I can't remember. I don't have it in front of me, but from memory, it was less than 10% were outside of Sweden, which includes Norway, Finnish, Australia, and India, and the US. So,
and you know their publishing schedule more than I do. Have the other parts of the Vultures been published in Fantoman yet? Because we've got Vultures Part 1 being top, and then not featuring in the rest.
Yeah, so there was, so they published them together. So Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, and they made So you had to vote for part 1 as one story, part 2 as a second story, and part 3 as a third story.
Oh, yep, okay. Well, perhaps people were just sort of going, well, I really like the Vultures as a kid. I was looking for an English translation of the full results, but cannot read Swedish, unfortunately. So without knowing whether the other parts where they featured, but we had a tie for second place with Rasputin's Puzzle, which was a reprint of a past Team Funterman story. And that was tied with The Prince from Dark, which is a new Team Funterman story from this year, first time it was published. So it's probably good. They would have at least been satisfied to see, well, if they can't get first place as one of their stories, they can tie for second for one of their old ones and one of their new ones. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the Rasputin's Puzzle has been reprinted by Frew as well. So I think it was back
just
in the
recently,
80s.
Wasn't it? Oh, I thought
no, I think you're right. If you go to Fandom Wiki, it will say when it was last published by Australia, and it was 1987 and 2014. So yes, you were right, Stephen. So good memory.
Okay, so and the top placed newspaper story from last year was Vigil at Phantom's Head, which came in at number 6 for them. So 442 people voted. Did Brian say how many prizes they're giving away? Because I know that's certainly an attraction for a lot of people.
I can't remember. I think it was 10, or it might have.
Okay.
Yeah. So what's that? That means you got what, 1 in 40 chance?
Yeah.
To win that prize. And I've won 2 prizes. I won one for Norway and then one for Sweden. So, you know, they do give the prizes out for Australians if you're one of those lucky people. So 1 in 40 chance, you know, you can get one of the prizes, which isn't bad.
Yeah. So keep an eye on your mailbox, but don't get too stressed if nothing arrives, because you've got a 39 in 40 chance that that's going to happen.
Way to put a damper on everyone's mood, Dan. They don't email you about it. You just literally you just get it sent to you.
It just arrives.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, very good.
I remember doing it, and I'm like, I don't remember buying this.
You're right. I didn't even know where it had come from.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I did mention earlier about when we were talking about Supernova and the Free booth about new stuff that they were bringing in. I imagine they're going to have a pile of these new face masks at the booth, and maybe that's why they brought them out for Supernova. People are worried about getting crowded and that sort of stuff. It does seem like an odd sort of a thing in 2023 to be releasing face masks. If it had been, June of 2020, yeah, I would have got that, but it seems a bit late in this whole pandemic business to be bringing out fandom face masks now.
It's so COVID. Look, it's worth making mention that these are not licensed either. But look, hey, you can get them there's still plenty of people to be worried. It's worth to be worried. People are still getting very sick by it and passing and all that. So if you are attending and you are worried, Free will have some Phantom, and I believe there's even a Mandrake themed face mask as well. So you can play hard and be safe. Yeah.
And look, as far as a Phantom collectible goes, which isn't going to cost you much for postage because they're nice and light, a set of 3 is $15, or they're $5 each for the 3 designs that they've got, 2 Phantoms and a Mandrake. The other 3 designs that Free have got sitting there. I'm curious that you say they're not licensed, Germ. How are Free selling them if they're not licensed?
Well, they buy them from the person who made them, paid them, they shipped them over, and then they stick them on their website. That's not the answer you're looking for, but
no, I'm just curious. I'm curious because this is, I think, literally the first time I've seen anything on Frew's site that isn't licensed.
A lot of the prints,
artwork, I suppose.
No, well, the original artwork's kind of
that's a separate piece.
That. So but the prints from Cybari, the prints that we're going to talk about in a second.
Yeah, true.
They're not all licensed.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's just a bizarre one. Left, right, and centre for mine. Anyway, there'll be completists who want to get them. I'm sure you'll pick up your own set while you're down there, Germ. Maybe 2 or 3. So you've got a nice light. Well, here you go. It's a nice light little present to throw into a box of somebody you're sending overseas. In terms of just here's a nice little bonus gift that you might have not considered or paid for, but a nice little present to send without waiting too much weight in postage.
Yeah. Look, that is true.
All right. The other thing is the prints from Sal Valuto, Luca Alberta, and Keith Williams, which I guess is what you're alluding to there. Other prints that are by artists. It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because they're from published artists who have their own. Yeah. I'm sure it's all completely kosher. I've got no reason to think it's not. So they're pretty cool prints as well. I imagine you'll be picking those up while you're in Sydney. You're taking
they're quite expensive. I am taking a folder over. They're $100 per print. That's a lot. And then when you look at it, last year's folio, which had 13 prints, was $95.
Yeah.
And it was also signed. I like the ones I like some of the designs. There's an Australian theme one for Sal. The one that Luke has done is a Team Phantom cover, and so there's some great artwork there. But at $100 each,
yeah,
I could, $100 you can get a sketch cover. You could, you can get a folio print, which have anywhere between 10 to 15 prints in there. It's hard to justify. If I want to get all, there's how much would, if you were to get one of each, how much would that cost you?
Is it just the 3 of them?
No. So
I thought Keith Williams had 2 or 3 prints, didn't he?
Yeah. So there's 3 by Sal Valuto. If you're on YouTube, you'll see it on the screen. There's 1 by Luca, and then there's 2 by Keith Williams as well. So there's 5, 6. That's $600. That's $600. Well, let's put it this way: Grange Wallace was advertising his folio original artwork for $750.
Yeah.
So $600 gets you a free cover original, or you can get prints. So I like them. 2 of the ones from Sal are probably ones that I would get if I was to get any of them, which is the Phantom Diana one and the Sydney Australian theme one. But yeah, paying $200 for that, I probably won't.
Yeah, no, fair enough. The Luca Alberta one is probably one that I really like Luca's art. So but $100, you're right. I guess that. The catch is these are all international artists who have got to ship them over in bulk, and so you're paying you're paying for the postage again as much as anything else there.
So that Luca Alberta one, that's if you all right, let's put it this way. I brought a Phantom subscription, cost me about $200 a year subscription. In there included the poster of that.
Yeah, right.
It's not printed on thick cardboard and everything like that, but I've already got that poster.
Yeah, right. Very cool. All right. Anyway, we imagine that most of those will be at the free booth, sitting there, maybe towards the on the high shelves at the back, you can pick them up there if it is within your budget and your wheelhouse. All right. Now, the next thing we've got to talk about is the Icon Collectibles 10-inch bust. Now, that's the new one with the skull cave out the back. It's an interesting design. It's not one we've seen before, and it's going to be curious how you can display it so that you can see both the front of it and the back of it, and to appreciate all of the work that's gone into it. You almost need it somewhere you can walk a 360 around it.
Yeah, or you buy 2.
Well, look, the price isn't bad, is it?
No, I think the price point in this, and we talked about $100 for a print. This is $100 for a bust.
$100 for this statue.
Now 10 inches. That's what, a 30 centimeter ruler, give or take.
No, 30 centimeter ruler is 12 inches. So I've got my little handy dandy 10-inch statue here next to me. This is the Iron Studios one. And that's 10 inches. So I guess if my arm's up against that, he doesn't even come up to my wrist. And I've got pretty standard length elbows. So that's a litre Powerade bottle for a point of comparison, and he's shorter than that. So
yeah.
So it's still
a decent size though.
Oh, it absolutely is. And
how much did that one cost you? That's the Iron Studios one that's just come out in the last 3 or 4 months. That
all apart stuff costs $20.
Yeah, $20. No, seriously, it was about
$3.90, I think it was. Right on that $3.90 was the price for that one. So, and just while we're talking about him, I know in the video review that we posted via Chronicle Chamber, and really loved that review. It's great to see some kids getting involved. They did say about the Devil's Paw not meeting the rock. I had that same problem too, but then you just give him a little bit more of a shove than you initially thought, and he sits down and settles in really neatly. So just to clarify that one, in case Iron Studios saw that and thought we were besmirching their good name. But no, I really like that. But you're absolutely right in the sense that I could get 4 of these Icon collectibles busts for the same price as this one statue. So the $100 price point is, I think, really appealing.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like I was looking at it, I'm going, oh, I'm not really sure, and I didn't see the price. And then I saw it for $100. I thought, yeah, well, I'm definitely getting that then.
Well, What sort of price was in your mind? Because I had the same experience. Where were you sort of thinking that they were going to price this?
Maybe 200.
Yeah,
maybe 250.
Yeah, that's about where I was too. I was thinking, this will be at least 220, 250. And then you see the price, you're like, oh, that's actually really good.
Yeah, and it becomes a no-brainer. It's like, yeah, of course, I'll definitely get that. It's $100. Exactly. Yeah.
And you're right, probably get 2. So you can display the front and the back.
I reckon if you were to display it, you would kind of do mainly on the back, but tilted a little bit so you see like the profile of the Phantom. I think that's how you would do it. So you can kind of because the profile of the Phantom looking from over his shoulder has that powerful look. And then that way you still get to see the skull down the thing. I'm looking forward to reviewing it because I'm not sure how the 2 designs coming together is going to look. So I'm looking forward to the review.
And that's where the price point maybe a little bit is interesting because you get what you pay for too. So I hope that it's still good, still a good product in the end. It would have been cool, I think, if they'd had the bust of this Phantom with his head turned slightly to either the left or the right, and that would really help you display it so that you get that sort of glance at him without, because looking straight ahead, you're going to have to tilt it a fair way, I would have thought. So that would have been cool. But I'm with you. I'm definitely getting one of these and really looking forward to seeing how it's coming out.
Yeah, no, look, more stuff to come. I think there's a lot of not just Phantom fans buy statues and stuff like that. So it has a good chance of a crossover market.
Yeah.
So I think that's one good thing.
When I picked up this Iron Studios guy, the comic book owner said that he had one, and that a number of his customers who are Iron Studios figures fans, and they all picked it up, and they think amongst the Iron Studios work, it's one of the better ones. So I think the more you can appeal to those different markets, and again, it's like Steve was saying before about people just seeing him around more often. Suddenly he's on the shelf of someone who wouldn't pick up a Phantom thing, but they collect, Iron Studios stuff in this instance. So
yeah, exactly.
Cool. All right, now Greek comics. This is foreign comics are really your domain, Jermayn. So I'll pass over to you to let us know what's going on with the Phantom comics in Greece.
Okay, so look, a little bit embarrassing, but these comics have actually been coming out since December 2018, and no one knew about them.
New Greek comics, I say.
Well, no, they're still coming out now. So I believe. Which one is it? So
Greece has been having regular production of Phantom comics for the last 5 years.
Yes. So this one here, number 2, is January 2019, which obviously features a Phantom cover. There's only been 2 that have got Phantom on the cover, and this one, which is issue number Sorry, I looked at it and then didn't look at it. Number 21. Again, if you're seeing these on YouTube, now we will do a review of these, but it will come post Supernova. And then this is the most latest one, which is issue number 28. So look, just kind of a bit of it's kind of like a comics review, that it's a combination of all different comics from around the world, a lot of European stuff, and then there's the Phantom story. So this is featuring some of Jeff Weigel's stories in that one. In the
Do they do splash pages?
So I know that's something that you like seeing in your free one.
I do, and I'm just interested to see.
But they do separate it with an editorial.
Yeah, cool. Okay, yep.
So like on the next page is Tex Willer or Tex Miller or something.
Yep.
So issue number 2 actually featured. Where is it? The Moonstone story of the dragon, which is obviously where this cover comes from.
Yes.
So this is the Moonstone story in there in issue 2. So look, they're quite thick. You know, they're €6 each, and they're 100 odd pages, and it's all color editorials. I brought 3 issues, and including postage, and it took about 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. Cost me $50 Australian after after transfers and all that for 3 issues. It's not too bad. It's not too expensive.
And so you said issue 2 and issue 21 were the 2 with the Phantom on the cover, and that's just available off their website, is it?
Off their website, yes. So $6.50 actually is the price, which is 11 Australian, $6 US, 600 Indian, and 75 Swedish and Norwegian krona. Now the Phantom appeared in issues 1 to 5, and then again from 20 to current. So if you are looking at completing your set, you need to focus on issues 1 to 5, and then 20 to. The last recent one was 28 at the time of when we recorded. So we'll have a review, a proper flick through them in a video review post Supernova, because Supernova will probably have the folio to review, probably the jam covers and some other stuff as well. So we'll do that first.
Just because this is the only one on the run sheet that doesn't have a hyperlink, can we put the website address in the show notes for people?
Yeah, look, there'll also be a link. I don't know where that went, but whoever did the run sheet failed on that one. But yeah,
maybe so by the time you're on your 3rd page, I can understand it.
we've got all the information on our website, and we'll have it all in our show notes as well.
Very good. Now, let's keep going around Europe, and another a publication that is being released by a company in France now. And now this is a pretty exciting prospect, the trade paperback that's going to come out in France, in that it's similar to the way that Hermes reproduced their books, in that sort of high-end type nature, and completely in colour. So some of the interior illustrations are going to be from Pat Boyette, Jim Aparo, and Bill Gante from the American comic book series, with those stories being written by Bill Harris, Dick Wood, and the first ever female Phantom creator, Pat Fortunato, I think.
Daniel will correct us on our pronunciation of those. I must admit, I'm a little bit unsure on exactly some of the details, because it's 468 pages, which is quite a lot. But on their website, they say they're only reprinting the Charlton stories from issues 30 to 40. Now, I'm not quite sure how that's going to happen, because...
Must be really big panels.
Yeah, because each of them is only, there's maybe 20, 25 pages in each story. And so if you times that by 10, that's only, 250 pages. So I think there might be more stories than that in them. But look, it's, from what I understand, they're going to be republishing all of the King, Charlton, and Gold Key stories, and kind of like a collection, like what you said with what Herms have done. They've also recently, in the last couple of years, done a lot of the Moonstone stories as well, that they've republished in trade paperbacks as collections as well.
Very good. All right, still we move on because there's just been so much news coming out over May, and we're always excited in the lead up to Supernova and Comic Con season. We get carried away with those, but the Perth Mint has continued to release more Phantom coins in that series, I suppose, that started, I don't know, I want to say about 6 months ago with the 1 ounce plain silver Phantom coin. Then about 3 months ago, perhaps, it would have been a second coin, a 1 ounce, I guess, similar to that one, but with the Phantom actually coloured. And now there's a 2 ounce coin released with the appropriate dollar value of the purchase price doubling as well. But it features a new design. Jerm, you've been quite not critical, but you certainly have a bit to say about the coins. What do you think about this 2 ounce Tuvalu currency that has come out from the Perth Mint?
I think this design is the best of them all.
Yeah.
Love the design. There seems to be a lot more care with the design. It's quite busy because you've got the Phantom, you've got the Skull Cave in the background and all that. But I like it better. It comes with the box. It's got little glowing little eyes. It's got all the fruit. And as you expect with something with all the fruit, it does have the price tag, which is about 250 Australian. Look, they're selling because, again, what we talked about with the cross-platform collecting,
yes,
it's not just Phantom people that are buying this. It's actually coin and gold dealers and all those type of things that buy all this stuff because they know that all that stuff does go up in value. Gold, silver, it all goes up in value. I know at work we actually had a liquidation for a bullion company, and they had, like, no jokes, of those Phantom with the skull throne, they had 100 of those. They just buy them because they know, they're not buying them for the collectibles, but they're buying them for the content in the silver or the gold. So
yeah, right.
Yeah. So, they're gonna buy it, and other people do it as well.
Well, I'd hate to be in a point in my life that I've got to melt this back down because I agree. This is probably my favourite looking design of the three that have come out. And interestingly, I think, and the shirts, particularly the ones that overlaid this new Style Guide Phantom on the Cy Barry shirts. Likewise, this is a Cy Barry type skull cave in the background that it features here, and I'm sure that's a Cy Barry devil just down to the left near the P of the Phantom. This, I reckon, is part of one of the best ways that I've seen the new Style Guide Phantom. He's starting to grow on me, and perhaps that's because he's surrounded by the familiar.
Saturated, yeah.
But no, this one, just the way that that pops up against the silver etching or molding, whatever it might is, however they do it with the coin, I think it looks really cool.
No, I agree.
And the box, you're right. The 250, I was like, no, couldn't do it. But then, and this is pretty sad, I know, when you've just talked about the price of the silver, but it was actually the box that made me go, oh, actually that might display really nice in a display case. So yeah, still probably not going to get one because it's very expensive.
It is. But look, I like it. Obviously, now Perth wouldn't be releasing 3 different coins, and we're going to talk about a slightly altered version of the fourth in the family in a second. But Perth wouldn't release 3 different coins if it wasn't selling and they weren't making money on it. Because you got to remember, they got to pay for the silver and all that type of stuff, and then they got to pay the licensing and everything like that. So they wouldn't be doing it if they weren't selling out.
Yep. No, it's good to see. All right, the next one you're talking about is not in the same set necessarily, but it is certainly a 4th coin that's come out this year. This one's from a UK company.
Strange brother.
Australia's brother, because basically they've gone back to that 1 ounce design, probably the first one that had no color to it, that people were like, yeah, and they've gilded it with gold and made some of the design pop. if you like. So did this turn you around on that first design, Germ?
The gold gilding's actually quite popular. It would have been nice if Perth had done it, but if the Perth Mint had done it. But I don't want to, blast a Perth company too much. But yeah, look, it does look nice. I've talked to a couple of fans who have the gold gilding and they like it.
Yep.
So again, this UK company that has done it wouldn't be doing it if there was no money in it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so plenty of ways for you to spend your hard-earned Phantom savings this month. So even if you're not spending it on travel and accommodation to get to Sydney, there's other ways you can spend your coin, to buy a coin, so to speak. Now, some missing videos. There was an unfortunate happenstance with the Chronicle Chamber YouTube channel, 2-3 weeks ago now, Germ?
Yeah, about that, yeah.
So all of a sudden, the Gremlins got involved, and a whole bunch of our more recent videos were just wiped. No evidence that they were there.
Yeah, look, we'll say Gremlins, the Sing Pirates. But yeah, look, all the videos are back. However, the comments, the views, and the direct URLs have been are missing. If you go to our website, you'll be able to view the updated URL. But like, for instance, if you shared the video URL, emailed it to a friend or put it on your Facebook or something like that, that won't be working. But the content's still there. But yeah, so look, if that's the worst thing that's going to happen to us or what the Sing Pirates can do to us, we should be okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And like any good media organisation who's got to own up to a stuff up, we've tried to bury it right at the tail of the podcast, an hour and a half in. So
well, we did put an article as well, and there was a couple of people that noticed something and made mention of it. But we wanted to at least acknowledge that, hey, if you notice something a little bit buggy, that's what it was. It's all fixed, but unfortunately, stuff ups happen.
I'm sure that if people had what they consider to be an absolute smashing comment on one of those videos and they know it's gone now, please go back and put it in there again to keep that conversation going.
Please do.
All right, and in the last piece of news that we've got on the run sheet here is our winter Patreon draw. So this is the seasonal prize that we do for our Patreon supporters, who for the dollars that they send into us and donate each month, they are given tickets in a raffle. And every 3 months at the start of the new season, we raffle something off. Usually a cool, it's always a cool fandom product of some note. And this time around, for winter of 2023, we've got a special. We've got a box of the Phantom card game by Games by Lick. Came out 2 or 3 years ago. Really, really popular. Stephen loves it. We all love it. The artwork, the quality of it is fantastic, and it's a fully playable game. So this is a really cool prize. Retailed at about 120, if I remember rightly, through the Kickstarter.
Oh, I thought it was a little bit cheaper than that. This is it here. It's still sealed. I thought it was about 60 or 80, but either way, it's not a pair of socks.
No, that's exactly right, and we'll cover the freight to get it to you as well. So
yeah. So let's hope that an Aussie that's going to Sydney, Supernova, wins it. So then that way it will save us. I think it costs $20 to ship it in Australia. So but
even better if they turn up to Perth Supernova, you can just hand it up.
Yeah, because I might not have any room left in my luggage.
In your luggage.
So as you made mention, we've got our list of names. This is the program that we just use. So for every $1 you donate, you're in there. Let's just keep shuffling. So that way they're well and truly shuffled. You'll probably see your name in there. So we'll scroll down and here's the start button. The winner will pop up there. And it is Peter. Heather
Now,
J. Borkman.
a regular winner of these, I suspect.
This is the second one he's won, and I'll tell you right now, he is not going to Sydney. So
Won't be at Perth Supernova?
No, he won't be at Sydney or Perth. So this one is going all the way back to Norway, I think it is, from memory.
Right. That might cost us more than $20.
Yeah, but congratulations. Thank you for your support, your donation and all that as well. I will send this post Sydney with your stickers as well. So I'll save on postage by sending the two things together as one.
Maybe throw in a set of face masks for him as well. Oh dear. All right. Well, thanks very much, everyone, for tuning in today. We have just basically gone over the news of the last 6 weeks, and if you want to keep up to speed, so you're not waiting 6 weeks for the next or another month for the next installment of what's going on in the fandom universe, make sure that you're regularly visiting the website. That's the absolute best way to stay up to speed with things, chroniclechamber.com. And if you've got any hot tips or you've noticed, like all of the news we had about the coins was told to us first by people who spotted those and sent that information through to us. So we love having as many 1,000 eyes and 1,000 ears and all that sort of gear with people. If you can send any fandom related news, if you've got any questions, anything you want to talk about fandom related, email chroniclechamber@gmail.com. Of course, if you can interact with any of the social media, comments on the YouTube now that those videos are back, all those sort of things, it all helps get traction and get more fandom people finding us and hearing us, and it gives you an opportunity to interact because Chronicle Chamber always replies. So that's that, folks. Thanks very much for listening. Make sure, if you haven't already, that you are subscribed so you can hear the next one come out as soon as it does. Until next time, happy fandoming.
Happy fandoming. I'll see you at Supernova, and don't forget the keyword, which is Dan.
I'm a happy focused.
Happy fandoming, all.
Happy fandoming.
Piracy, injustice and cruelty, and all my sons will follow me, so evildoers will believe that this man cannot die. The Phantom, the ghost who walks. The Phantom, enemies beware. The Phantom's always there, but you won't find the Phantom. He finds